Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hot Topics, the podcast, the show where we inspire, we create, and
We transform.
there you go. This is Gloria Goldberg, the founder of the podcast Unbreakable Life with Glory, where I talk about depression, anxiety, and PTSD, a natural way, a holistic way to always make you feel better. And next to me, like always, my beautiful co host, Kia Baker.
Hey, it's your girl, Kia. That is, unless you don't know me by now. If you don't know me by now, my name is Kia Baker. I am the creator and host of the Female Veterans Podcast, Women Warrior Stories, and success coach at London Real Academy, as well as the Rose Method, which I created myself for private coaching. How are you, sweetie? I can't hear you. You're muted. I lost your sound. Hi,
Okay,
George.
I'm here. I hear a little bit, I hear a little bit sound behind, like a fan. You
A
don't hear
fan.
it?
No. But you know what?
It's
My
doing,
computer has a fan. So maybe my mic is picking it up.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
So, how are
probably it.
you today?
I'm actually really excited and happy. I'm just having a great day. And it's because I'm doing this new meditation at night.
Oh,
And it's
really?
called Something Wonderful is Happening. You can find it on YouTube by this guy, Brian Scott. And
Uh-huh.
it's really relaxing in the beginning. And then it's like a guided meditation. It's subliminal reprogramming. And so if you coach with me, you know that one of the things that we do is subliminal reprogramming through listening to things at night when you sleep. Okay, because
Right,
this is a
right.
way to rapidly transform. Because if you don't reorganize and reprogram your subconscious mind, you're going to be fighting against your programming, your unknown programming, while you're trying to shift your mindset in the front, right? So it works together.
Right.
And so I love to do this, and I recommend this for my private coaching clients, not my London Real clients, unless they ask me.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do the research for yourself. You can find that this is science based, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about firing and rewiring brain waves. And Joe Dispenza talks all about that, who you know I love. And it's
Right.
interesting. It's interesting to research. So if you're into it, check it out. And if you're trying to change your life, this is a way to help you do it faster. So I've been listening to this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I wake up every day like so happy.
Really? But
Yeah.
how long you listen to this programming?
Okay, so the technique for reprogramming your subconscious mind is to listen as you're falling asleep and as you're waking up. So you need to be in your theta dream state. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
really, really key. So just
Mm-hmm.
as like think of it as you're drifting off to sleep and as you're waking up in the morning. Those are the two key
Right.
important times. So you listen to it all night. It's I think 8.5 hours long. So as long as you time it right, you will fall asleep to it and wake up to it.
So let me ask you another question. That doesn't make your brain a little bit tired?
No,
No.
no. If you can bear to listen to things, some people can't bear to listen to anything at night. I cannot it's best if you use headphones, but I can't bear it. I can't sleep like that. So I have to put it on the TV, which isn't as good because you really want to get it right in, but it does work. It does work. It works for me. Yeah.
Wow, I don't know, but I always constantly meditating through the day. I have my routine in the morning and when I wake up, and my routine at night when I go to sleep. But sometimes in the middle of the night I wake up. I don't know why. I just wake up, and when I wake up, the first thing I do, because I know when you wake up, and in my case, I wake up 3, sometimes at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I still sleeping, like you said, the brain is just there, and then I know that. So right there, I start like a blessing and be grateful for everything at whatever time it wake me up. And through the day, sometimes when I drive in my car, instead of using listen to music, I use the silence to not to meditate, because you cannot meditate driving, but you can meditate driving, just thinking about be present and thinking about what you can be better. And also when you focus in the present is also a way of meditation, because you are living the now. So that's I always do. And the silence for me is gold. I love to be in silence. And when I'm here alone in my house, my house is completely in silence. And if you come in the morning, you will feel that everything is in silence. No TV, no radios, no nothing. So I like it like that. And I think I got used to that when I was kidnapped. Because I had many times and many hours and days by myself alone in silence. So I was trained in being kidnapped to train to be in silence, and I guess that was a good thing, because I can be in silence for long periods.
So I guess that actually just gave me a question for you. So I know that you were in captivity for 90 days, right? For 3 months.
Right.
And you were in pitch black and you were in silence. And if anyone doesn't know the kidnap story, there's 2 ways to discover it. You can go to our Hot Topics Live Facebook page and go back through the episodes. It was last year. We did a full episode in January about the kidnap story, and I got to interview Gloria and ask her tons of questions about everything that happened. And you can also hear it on Unbreakable Life with Glory, her podcast. So you can hear that anywhere you listen to podcasts. So if you want to hear the full story. But my question for you is this. When you came out of captivity, was everything overwhelming because you had been in dark and it was silent? So were normal sounds and light and everything feeling really overwhelming for you?
Well, when you came out from a situation like that, you came like a kind of numb. And I came to my home, and I remember going, I see people, because they released me at night. So it was not the, like the difference, like coming out from the dark, coming from the light in the daylight. It was night.
Right.
So for me, it was kind of regular, like normal. But I remember that day, the next day I went to sleep, like the day I came and the same day I went to sleep, I went into the room again, and I didn't want to go out, and I didn't want anybody to go in my room. So I was still on thinking that I was kidnapped. I was not like, I'm free, I'm gonna be out. No, I still kidnapped after they released me. I don't want to go out. My room was like dark at night, but it was not that dark like the way I was used to. But I was more happy to be out. But I was on that room for many days after they released me. I remember that. And I feel weird. I feel like weird, like I was not adapted again, like to the life. They, like, for example, they call me for lunch. I say I don't want to go. I get out for lunch. For example, they call me to sit down in the dining room. I didn't want it. They bring everything to my room. So I was kind of kidnapped after they released me, but not because I want it. It's because I just feel that I don't want to be out. I don't want to be. It was weird sensation.
I can imagine feeling overwhelmed by everything, and just sort of the adjustment must have been so stressful, right? Knowing that you're free, but keeping yourself in a room like that. How did you overcome that sensation of not wanting to leave the room, even though you were free?
Well, the therapy, I have not a therapy, but the guy who was in charge of the Gaula, means the organization that rescue people is being kidnapped. He have a little bit of psychology too, because they need to learn that. So he come every single day. I remember almost for 3 months to talk to me, to see if I see anything, if I recognize the guys. They bring me pictures of people. If I recognize anybody, I was no, 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 no. And then in one conversation, he said, "Do you already try to go out?" I said, "No." And then he said, "When you gonna try to go out?" I said, "I don't know. I'm afraid." And he said, "Why you so afraid?" I said, "Well, why you think why I'm afraid?" "Yes, I'm afraid because I don't know who did this to me." So he said, "I recommend you to start going out." But also at the same time, my father don't want me to go out. So it was like a lot of polarity there. My father don't want me to go out. And then 3 months, a little bit, 2 months and a half, 3 months, I started like, okay, it's time for me to get out. And then the very first thing I did, I went to see one of my friends. And of course, I went to see my friends. I was with like 4 men with me. So I was like still with like, oh, I have to go see my friend, but then I have 4 people waiting for me outside. It was very uncomfortable. And then 6 months in there, I said, I'm coming to the U.S. I'm coming to the U.S. because I cannot live in my city. I can't. Because everywhere I go, I have to go with a lot of people. I don't feel secure. I don't want to drive. I don't want to do anything. So I need to get out from my country to be able to have a normal life.
So your parents kept you surrounded by guards after that?
Yes, because they was afraid that happens again. Because they have to remove my 2 brothers from the city because they said they was gonna get my brothers too. So in order to protect the entire family, my father have to move my brothers away. So when I came from that, my brothers was not around. So in my case, I was still prisoner because my father don't want anything to happen to me again or for the family. So it was like in that moment I didn't understand my father, but now I understand why. I will be the same thing if they kidnap my daughter. I just want to protect her the entire time. I don't want her to go anywhere because I'm afraid he probably was afraid too.
Right. So, and then you decided to come to the United States. How did
Yes.
you make that decision? Because that's a huge life change. And that brings me to one of the topics I want to talk about today. So, that's a huge life change for you. You had a major, major trauma being kidnapped, right? Hi, Angeline. Good to see you,
Hey.
sweetie. And you had a major trauma, this kidnapping that lasted for 90 days. And then even after you were released from captivity, you kept yourself contained for another 3 months. And then
Yes.
3 months later, because you were so overprotected, you felt you had no freedom. So you still felt in captivity because of your father's fear of you being abducted again, and then you decided to come to the United States. So how did you make that decision? You didn't feel safe anymore in your city, and how did you decide to come to the United States?
Okay, if people don't know me, but I'm being married many times, and when I get out from the kidnap, I was kind of tired. My father telling me what to do, not what to do, so I feel like kidnapped. And the day I went to see my friend, I met a guy, and when I saw the guy, I said, "This is gonna be my husband." And 3 months later, I was married to him.
Okay, so I know a lot of women can identify with that. Maybe their father is very strict, or their family is very strict, or maybe it's dysfunctional, and you're sort of looking for a way out. And
Yes,
a lot of times for women, it seems like a marriage is the only way, legitimately, because it
yes.
could be religious factors at play or whatever, but it seems like maybe marriage is the way to get out. And that's what you chose. That was you and your husband then came to the United States. Is that what happened?
Right. So I met him. We married 3 months later. And then I saw that again, I feel like like again, like kidnap. I feel like cross, like we're not gonna do anything. Like, and then my husband, in that time, his business started deteriorating. And I'm a woman that always push. And I said, "Listen, I see that the business is deteriorating and you're not doing not good. Let's get out of here." of this country. I want to get out of here. So let's go. And then he said, oh, I'm not sure. I said, no, you are sure. Let's get out. So I sent him first.
No, you are sure.
So I said, let's go. I sent him first, like send him, no, we decide, okay, he go first, he stabilized, and we don't have money. So he find an efficiency, like a garage on New York and Queens Liberty. And he was so afraid because I was coming from a very, very, like a very rich life. But I was so wanted to get out of that because I was not happy to be in an environment like that. So when I get to New York, he was like a little bit afraid because for me it was gonna be a shock living the rich life and then going to a life that was not. So and my husband, I remember he opened the door and said, oh my God, what is this woman is gonna think about me when she opened the garage where we gonna leave? And then I remember getting out from the taxi and he showed me the house. I was so freaking happy. Like, oh my God. And he said, are you sure you're happy? I said, oh my God, I'm so happy because I can breathe. I can be free. I can walk in the street and nobody knows who I am. And I love that. And then the love for whatever I had in that moment, it was so big that nothing that I left in Colombia, it was nothing that I was missing. I was not missing the apartment, the cars, the money, nothing. I was missing my freedom. And I really found my real true freedom in New York when I live in that efficiency, in that garage.
Oh my God, I love that story so much. I love it so much. Oh my God, this is beautiful because you don't often think of that. Like money is not everything.
No, it's not. It's not.
Money is not everything. Sometimes it's a trap.
Yes.
Right? And you were feeling trapped by it even after you were free from captivity.
Yes.
And so it's so beautiful how coming to New York, starting from ground zero, like with nothing, you know, with a modest apartment and having to work hard and hustle, that gave you so much happiness and so much freedom that you were just in love with life. And I think that is such a beautiful story, which brings me to choosing happiness and choosing the life you want to live. Because a lot of times we just wake up one day and go, is this the life that I'm going to be living? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter. You could be rich, you could be poor. It doesn't matter. At some point in life, you assess and you say, am I happy in my life or not? And I want you to know that if you're not waking up every single day happy, then it's worth taking a look and figuring out what you need to choose in order to feel happy every single day. Because life is meant to be enjoyed. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. Things evolve and change, but it starts with a choice. The choice Gloria made was, I'm not happy here. I'm not happy in this life. I don't feel safe. I feel controlled. I need to do something to change my life so I can feel happy. And she left everything behind, as you heard, to go fulfill that dream. And it wasn't easy. And I'm not trying to say it will be easy, but I'm saying that you have a choice of what life you want to be living. What do you think about that, Gloria?
You know, like you know, now that we're talking about this story, something came out and it's like something is like happening right now in my life, like very similar. I remember, and I know a lot of women can recognize this, what I'm gonna say. When I was living in Colombia, I have a closet full of clothing. I can buy anything I want. I can drive any car I want, but I can go anywhere. So what you need that for? I couldn't even breathe by myself. I couldn't even go to a supermarket or to buy something by myself because always was with somebody. That's not life. And then I have a lot of clothes to show to him, to who, if I cannot go out to see my friends or to party or to go to a restaurant with my friends. I couldn't. So when I decided to come to this country that I love so much, I love the United States of America. I love it. I just, give all my clothes away, and I came to this country with just a little luggage with the things I really love, the clothes that I really, really love, and I leave everything behind. And I remember that I didn't care. I didn't care. I was so happy in that airplane, like a crying, but crying with joy and happiness. And I said, when I landed, I'm going to speak in English because I know I speak English. And that time my English was very broken. Very broken. And I said, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it. And my husband was like surprised because he knew where I was coming from. And he saw me like crying, like so happy. And he said, I cannot believe you're so happy living in this efficiency, in this garage with so little clothes. And I said, I'm so freaking happy. And then the next day I found the job, a part-time job, and then I walked all the freaking Liberty Queens and Liberty and Queens, knocking every single door. You need help? No. You need help? No. I'm not afraid to no. So no, no, no. And the last door that I knocked the door, they say, yes, we can give you a part-time. So I have my full-time. And then I save a lot of money. Those 3 months, we save a lot of money. In 3 months, I said, this is too cold. This is too cloudy. We got to go to Florida. And my husband, what? I said, yes. Find someone in Orlando, whatever, that we go into Florida. So he find the person, and we moved to Florida. And another journey became, another big journey started. But going back to that moment and going back to the moment today, I'm leaving to the jungle, and I'm leaving a lot of stuff behind. A lot of clothes, a lot of shoes that I'm not gonna need that because I'm going for my transformation of myself. And that for me is the most important thing right now.
Well said, honey. And I want to back up because I really want to dive into that. Oh, what is George saying?
I am a CEI and ESL teacher. Don't worry about the language as long as you are understood. Thank you.
Really nice. And hi, Estelle. I forgot to tell you. Hi.
Yes.
We love you, girl. Yes, it's good to see you too. So I want to dive into something that you said because you made a really good point. Okay, so you got here to the United States and you didn't have a job and you went knocking on doors and you had a lot of resistance of rejection, right? Through rejection. So you had to hear no, 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 but you kept knocking on doors, and the very last door you got to, it was a yes. And that's so true with anything in life. When you set a goal for yourself, it might not be easy. It might be really hard to achieve. Lord knows I'm doing things right now that are beyond my scope, and I'm doing it, and come what may, like I'm going for it. But that's the only way to get where you want to go. You can't let fear hold you back. Thank you, Anila. You can't let fear hold you back. You can't let resistance hold you back. Oh, and there's one part of the story before even this that you guys have to hear that I love, that I find incredibly inspiring and really speaks to Gloria's character. So I'm going to start the story, Gloria, and you fill it in, finish the rest. So Gloria goes to her dad and she tells him she's leaving to the United States. Okay. Now imagine she just got married out of nowhere. She gets freed from captivity, comes home, she tells him she's getting married, gets married, and now she's telling her father, who's a very prominent man, a very wealthy man, and a very powerful, strict father, that she's leaving and going to the United States. Now, what happened? What happened when you told him?
Oh my God, that man humiliated me. My master, my biggest master of my life, humiliated me. And he said, are you fucking crazy? Because my father he have a big words in his mouth. Are you fucking crazy? I'm not gonna give you shit. I'm not gonna give you money to go. Are you crazy? If you going with your own money. I have $500 only. You going with your money, and and when you come back, you're probably gonna come back in 1 year, and then gonna be in your knees asking me for, please, Father, help me again. And my response was, no way. Get your money out of your, in your ass. I don't need your money. I'm leaving. And you know what? He was my master. So now I can recognize when men are like that, and don't tolerate the manipulation on me. So he said that to me, but at the same time, Kia, it was good that he said that to me, because, if he don't say that to me, I probably would be there under his wings and manipulated, and who knows where I was. But it was something for him, like, it was good he told me, no, you cannot do it. I feel like, oh no, I'm going to show him, yes, I can do it. And then 11 years after that I could come to my country, I show him, not telling him, see what I did. No, with actions, and working in the produce industry, that I was very successful. And he was like quiet. He until today, he never say anything about it. But, I know the actions speak louder than words.
I love that story so much, because you're just like, nope, I'm going. I don't need your money. And it speaks to the fact that, you know what? I wasn't born into a wealthy family, right? But I can have a lot of empathy for people who have parents that control them through money, right? I mean, hell, you can be born into a poor family and be controlled by money from your parents or whatever.
Yes.
So it's an interesting dynamic at play there, and how you chose to stand your ground and take your freedom on so many levels. It's a perfect example of the power of choice. And every choice we make, there's so much power in it, because we have free will, because we have at any given moment the power to decide what our future is going to look like in the present moment. So in that moment, you were like, nothing is going to stop me from moving to New York and leaving an entire country and an entire life behind, and generational wealth, right? Like, you're going to leave this all behind and start over in my tiny little garage efficiency apartment and create a better life for myself. And I really wanted to talk about this today, because you manifested a beautiful, successful life for yourself. And
Yes.
there's power in choosing to create your life instead of allowing life to just happen to you.
Your connection is a little bit so. Do you know what happening, or was me?
My kids are outside. So is it raining or anything by you? I don't know.
It's very overcast here. Overcast.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It usually gets weird when it's rainy in Florida.
Yes. I'm gonna answer what Angeline say. Angeline said, I moved to New York in 1985 without my parents and money. I use my own money. Okay, the Latino culture is very different, and especially in my family, my father thought I was never gonna cook. I never was gonna clean. My mother too. My mother never teach me to cook anything. Nada. Like, they do everything for me.
You were a princess.
A princess. So when I came to this country, I came only with the money that I saved, because I never saved. I was spending because the money was flowing like nothing. So I was spending. So I was not having the how you call the head to say, oh, this money is gonna end one day. I never had that. So, and my father don't want me to work. My father don't want me to do anything. My father wants just me to study, but to study whatever he wants me to study, not what I want to study. So it was like a golden gel for me. So when I came to this country, I didn't know how to cook. I have to call my mother how to do rice, how to do stuff. And I start cooking like very simple stuff. And then washing what washing clothes, what is hard to wash clothes, put the freaking thing in the machine and done. So it was like for me something very, for maybe for other people will be tremendous change, but I was so thirsty for freedom that for me I do whatever it takes to have that freedom. And cooking, I was happy cooking. I was happy not having money and happy walking, going to a job. For the very first time in my life, I have a job. It was like, for me, it was amazing. For me, it was like, oh, this is amazing. And also, I always think, and still today, that everything is temporary. So I never see stuff like this for a long time. Like people get jobs and say, oh, this is like the only job I have. I always knew that everything I get, it was temporary until I find the things that I really love to do.
That's amazing advice. That's amazing advice. What would you say would be the first step in creating the life that you want to live, Gloria?
Can you repeat that again?
What would you say would be the first step towards creating the life you want to live? I mean, after realizing that you're not happy and you want to make a change and you choose that you're going to make a change. After that, what would you say would be a great first action step?
Well, in my case, it was a decision, the complete decision, not going back. And whatever I was going through, And I always ask for the divine justice all the time. So I was working, and when you're working and you have that mindset of this is not going to be forever, this is temporary. So God starts showing you people and start building your path. And if you follow the path, you will get to the point that you find what you love to do. In my case, I was working. I need to survive. I need to provide. I need to work. And at the end, I will find something that is going to come to me. But I'm never thinking like, oh, this job I love. I clean toilets. Never in my life clean toilet. Clean toilets. Clean colleges. I had 3 jobs in the morning, in the afternoon, and night. I was like, I'm coming to conquer. Like, remember I told you we are coming to conquer London? I came to this country to conquer this country, to do whatever it takes. And it was like that. Everything was one miracle after a miracle after a miracle. And I call miracle because when you are alive, it's a miracle. And when you are in life going through, miracles happens to you, but you have to be conscious of what you see in. And I always look opportunity in every single thing. Every single thing I do, I always look for opportunity. So when I started in the produce industry, I started like everybody, like 60 people collecting, choosing fruit. And first day, I saw that not everybody was speaking English. Everybody speaks Spanish, and the manager speak English. So I saw that. And what I did, I went to the manager. I said, oh, you haven't in English, with my broken English. Oh, you having problems to communicate with people. And the guy was like, oh, do you speak English? I said, yes. Then we have a conversation right there. And he said, well, you're going to be my assistant manager the second day. For making $5.25 an hour, I start making $7.25. Just one day to another one. But because I always look for the opportunity. So I always look for the opportunities in everything I do. I think that's a good advice. Always there's opportunities in everything you do. And how you look for the opportunities, look for the things that are lacking where you are. Where some things are lacking is where you need the most things to bring the prosperity of anything you do.
Absolutely amazing advice. Amazing advice. And I love that you said that. So you say God, and it's whatever anybody believes in. You could believe in God, source, universe, whatever, pick your pleasure. But you have to tap into the awareness that you can create a better life. right?
Totally.
And you have to be open to be in the flow of the possibilities, because possibilities are only as limited as your mindset. Okay. They're only as limited as what you can believe you can accomplish. And I know it sounds super, super cliche, but Gloria is a perfect example of that, of just the ability to see what needs to be done and do it. Take an extra, do the extra work, take the extra step, right? To try to fill in the gap from where you are to where you want to be. But first, you have to know you can. That's the thing about Gloria that I love. What makes her unbreakable, what makes her unstoppable, is that she sets her sights on something and she's relentless in her pursuit of attaining it. And that's what it is. And you have to be open to the accept what good, because some people can't accept positive things, right? For
Right.
example, that second day you're there and the guy says, okay, I want you to be my assistant manager. You could have easily said, oh, no. I'm not comfortable with that. You know what I mean? Like, you could have shied away from it. And sometimes people actually walk away from their blessings because they have self-doubt and they feel imposter syndrome and they resist what it is that they're truly wanting. So you have to
And
be aware.
you know what is the key for that? To
Tell
cut
me,
that?
tell me.
Okay. It happens many times to me, but we're gonna talk about this example. When he
Mhm.
offered me that, I right away in my mind said, "Oh, I don't know to be assistant manager." But then I said, "Okay, I had no problem. Yes, I know numbers, but listen, I know numbers not the same way everywhere. So you have to teach me how to be your assistant because this is kind of pretty new to me. So you need to be open and truthful with the person. If they offer you opportunity, get it. But at the same time, I said, yes, I want it, but I want you to teach me, and then I will be able to do a better job for you. And that's what the guy said. He looked at me, he said, but you know numbers. I said, yes, I know numbers, but I don't know what exactly the way you want me to deal with the numbers, how you want me to do with the whole thing. You have to teach me. And the guy teach me. Because you know what, Kia? Every time you get a job, nobody knows the system of the job. Nobody knows the system of the company. So somebody needs to come and teach you. And people think like if they hire you, people think right away that you know what you're doing. Even you have masters in your mind and master's degree. If you go to a new job, they always have a politics, policies, and stuff that they run the company differently. So you cannot go expecting like, oh, you need to know so the company knows that you know. No, tell them, yes, I accept the job, but you show me what you want me to do. And that's what the guy did to me. He showed me, and week later, because I'm a fast learner, and week and a half later, he was going to home like at 4 p.m. And he said, Gloria, bye. You are in charge of the whole thing. So I opened at 6 a.m. and I closed at 12 a.m. the next day. And he was like, you are amazing. You are amazing because you learn fast. And it's not because I learn fast. It's because I want it. I want to increase. I want to learn more. And that's the only thing. So for people that always, they offer you opportunities, they always say yes. And even and in the road you make mistakes. Who cares? Everybody makes mistakes.
Be willing to learn. One of
Yeah.
my mottos is you're always the teacher and the student. So always keep a mindset of being willing to learn something new. I coach people and I constantly learn as well. I'm constantly taking courses and master classes and these little things to hone and sharpen my skills as well, because you are always the teacher, often the teacher, because you have knowledge of something, but also be willing to learn. That will help you grow. And like you said, take those opportunities and be willing to learn. And if you don't know, absolutely ready to learn it and take the plunge. George says, I have never had issues with my parents, and I am in constant touch with them. His dad passed away 7 years ago. Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. We are still in touch, trying to help each other from distance. The laboral issues that you are describing are things that I have been experiencing myself as of now. Yeah, I understand. I absolutely understand where you're coming from. Thank you for sharing that. It
Kia. And you
yes.
know what? And my first job in New York, you know what was my first job? Second day in this country, cashier. And I don't know how to deal with the money here at that moment because I was so pretty new, and I think that store was having the bad month, the 3 bad months of the year, because every time I hope nobody comes in. I hope nobody comes in. I hope nobody buys anything here because I don't know how to give the money back.
Oh my God, I love that story. But look, okay, so let's flash forward, all right,
Yes,
because we talk about how you started. Now, flash forward to now you and your husband own a produce company, a very, very successful produce company, which
yes,
you were instrumental in designing, creating, and establishing until you decided to chill. So, and because you were so successful. So tell
right.
us how how you manifested that. Did you have that vision when you first started in produce that someday you would have your own company?
Yes, yes. When I was pretty young, I always want to be the owner of something. And I remember like maybe even 5 years before I got the company, I have a dream, and I wake up in the middle of the night. The dream was like it was dark, like around 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. It was morning, and I saw like 10 trucks line up in a warehouse, and in the dream I hear the sound of the forklift, and I said, why I have this dream? And in that 5 years, I created my business. My first business was a quality control inspector, and I offer quality control for different companies. So I was the one who inspect a lot of companies, the products that they come in. And then I said, well, I need to close that company because some of the companies that I worked for, they lost the contract with Walmart and Sam's and everything. So I lost the contract. So I said, okay, let's close my company. So when I met my husband, the one I have now, he was working for another produce industry, another produce company. And I was running a Brazilian company from Brazil. And I import a lot of ginger from Brazil. So I met my husband in the business, and one day talking to him, I said, we are so stupid. And he said, why? I said, because you make a lot of money for that company, and I also make good money for my own. So why we don't just get together and put the X for like the forces, and we start something together? And he was like, oh, I don't know. And he took him like 2 years to think about it. I was ready. I just wanted, like now. And I remember he said, okay, I'm ready. And I remember like creating the logo, creating everything, finding the coolers and everything. I was pumped. I was like, this is gonna work. And I remember when we started, the day we opened, the computer was not on yet, and I was receiving a lot of merchandise, a lot of produce by hand. It was like the beginning was so successful that 3 months later we have to move to another location because we grew so fast. And then six months later, and then in those 3 months, I told the guy who rent the cooler to me, I said, listen, I don't want you to be offended with me, but I think you need to move to my office, and I need to move to yours, and you need to give me more space in the cooler because I cannot fit anymore. The guy looked at me and said, wow, that's like a punch in the face. I said, well, you're not bringing anything, so why you don't use this opportunity to make money too? So I always been like that. So I make the guy move to the small office, and we moved to the big office. And 6 months later, we need to move to another location. We couldn't fit anymore. And it was
Amazing.
like that, explosion after explosion after explosion.
Mm.
And I remember I traveled a lot. I went to Central America to do some business, and I couldn't believe people wanted to talk to me. And I said, wow, I didn't know I had this power. And people see me, oh, Mrs. Gloria. And I say, oh, Mrs. Gloria. Like, like I feel.
That's funny. Now pay attention to your dreams. She dreamed that.
and I
Physically
and I
dreamt that.
And I said, I'm going to be interviewed and I'm going to be in the news. And yes, in Guatemala, I was in the newspaper. And I was interviewed. And in that moment, I said, wow, I'm a freaking big shot in this. And then I became like, okay, let's do it. In very humble way, because I love to work with the growers. Because for me, the growers is like my family, because the growers are the people who make less money than the people are here. So for me, it was like I need to work with the growers, and I love the growers. And what growers are looking for people that really pay the money, because a lot of people from here goes down there to the growers and say, oh, yeah, we're gonna pay you money. Yes, we need all your production. And when they come here, they do a lot of deductions and stuff. And at the end of the day, they lost a lot of money. So our philosophy was, number one, the growers have to be number one. Number two, growers have to be being taken care. And number three, the money that they need, the people that need to receive the money first are the growers, first than us. So we got into that reputation that we pay first the growers. And when you have product, you'll be able to sell. Because if you don't have product, you cannot sell. So that's what exactly we went through. And people start saying, oh, this company pays very good. Oh, this company pays very good. And for me, I create that. For me, because why? Because I like people to pay money to me on time. So I do the same. So when you do the same, you collect the same.
So you know what I love about this? It's sort of a very happy ending and a really inspirational story. I'm sure everyone would agree. That's right. And then, I love this because it actually shows that once you then make it, so you have this, you wake up one day, right? And you realize, I'm not happy with my life.
Right.
Or maybe you have a dream and you're living a better life than the one you wake up to, right? And you're like, I need to make a change, but how? Well, the first thing is recognizing that you need to make a change.
Yes.
The second thing is to choose to make the change. And then to go out there and visualize what it is you want. Because once you know what you want, you can start taking action steps towards it, right? You can start working towards that. And then as you have to really do the work. So you can't just visualize and feel the emotion. You hear that everywhere as manifestation 101, right? But the point is, and like, one of my favorite people, and that Taff Wisdom that comes on the show. One of my former students, you can catch his episode if you go to our Hot Topics Live Facebook page, and you can scroll through the episodes. You see Taff Wisdom, and he talks about this a lot, and he's brilliant at explaining manifestation for such a young guy, right?
I love him too.
He's really tuned in. So he always says you have to think it, feel it, and then you have to put action behind it. So figure out your action steps. Hi, Johnny. Figure out your action steps, and then one after another, baby steps if you have to. Keep going. And every time you accomplish something, you'll build the confidence you need to tackle the next thing. And even if it takes time, just keep slowly pursuing those goals. Whatever it is, if it's buying a house, if it's buying a car, if it's getting a new job, and whatever it is that you need to change your life, if it's leaving that abusive relationship, which we'll talk about in a minute, whatever it is, you can do it. But first you have to make the choice. You have to visualize what you want, and then you have to take action. And then once you're successful, then this is what I love, how you said, I felt finally like a big shot, but I stayed humble, and I kept my promise to take care of the people that were important to my success. That's beautiful.
And you know what, Kia? I work a lot. It's like people think, oh no, I work a lot, seven days, because food doesn't stop, 7 days. But I remember so freaking happy because it was my project, and it happens with our show. We don't stop. We work a lot. And remember when we started being podcasting I already have almost 100 episodes. I don't stop. And I'm not making, like people think that we are making a lot of money. No, we are building, we are working, because eventually it's going to open the big door for us. And we are doing the mission. So people think that, it's lucky. It's not lucky. You need to dedicate and work hard. Not hard. You need to work with passion or what you do.
Right. So this project is a passion project for us, the
Yes,
Female Veterans
yes.
Podcast. Hi, Holly.
Hello,
The Female Veterans Podcast is a passion project for me. Our resources come from other things, other projects that are
Holly.
already
Exactly.
there, right? Where we're growing and we're making money from those, right? So we're sharing this information with you because we just want to help. Like we care about the global community and we want everyone to feel happier every day, because when we're all happier, we're more loving. And if we're more loving, then there's less hate. And if there's less hate, everyone is happier. And if you're feeling successful, like it just makes the world a better place. If you want to live in a better place, it starts with you. And so we're telling you what we've done that has been working for us as we're still growing. We're still in the process of evolving and transforming and growing. And you're witnessing it with us. And we're sharing with you how we're doing it so that maybe you will live your best life too. Because I wake up happy every day.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay, and it's been a rough road. Everybody, last year, you
Mm.
guys, if you've been watching the show, you went through my divorce with me, my separation, like conscious uncoupling. We talked about it. We talk about all this stuff. And most recently, we added another show to our lineup of lives, and that's on Instagram. So if you haven't followed us on Instagram yet, follow at Hot Topics the podcast on Instagram. You can tune in on Tuesdays and hang out with us. We're slowly building, so thank you for everyone who's tuning in already. And we're talking about a book. So our book series is on books that we think are really helpful. We're learning, we're sharing what we're learning with you. And this one is by Patricia Evans. It's called The Verbally Abusive Relationship. And we're discovering things that we didn't even know about verbal abuse and the effects of it and how to identify it, because more people verbally abuse each other in relationships than you would ever believe. Okay. And so we're kind of trying to do this to help you have better relationships. And we've learned so much. And our dear friend, Angeline,
Yes.
she hosts the Breaking the Silence, Let's Break the Silence podcast. And she is our resident expert, as she is a survivor herself of both physical and verbal abuse. And we talk over these topics in order to help people. And it seems like it's helping. So we're going to keep it up. We'll be live on Tuesday, and you can join us at Hot Topics, the podcast. Don't forget to follow us there. And speaking of that, Gloria,
Yes.
you said something yesterday that I thought was really, really cool. And you've been saying it these last couple of weeks that we've been doing it. And you said that you recognize in yourself that you sometimes are the abuser and also the
Yes.
victim. And I thought that was
Yes.
like really an honest statement to be able to say, hey, I do these things. I think I don't respond in the right way sometimes either in the heat of the moment, but
Mm-hmm.
never once would you think, categorize yourself like, oh, I am verbally abusing someone, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, I learned from my father. I'm not judging my father. Number one, I learned from my father. My father abused me. Abused my mother big time, physical, mentally, verbally, and I know the trait why he was doing that. But going back to what I said, I learned from him. So in all my marriages, of course, I've been abusing my partners. Screaming to them, not because I want to scream to them, because I just want it, because I'm protecting myself. So my reaction is completely, out of character. Like, if the guy said to me, for example, you're an idiot, I will go, yeah, you're an idiot, stupid idiot, and so and so and so and so.
Mhm.
I don't stop. So maybe another person would say, why? What did you say to me? You disrespect me so bad. No, I'm not. I will go engage in the fight. And my fight
Mhm.
with me is
Many people
you.
do that.
Right. But
I've certainly done that. Right? So it's surprising is my point. It's like super surprising what we're finding as we're going through this book. But I think the intention also makes a big impact, because it's also the abuser is intending to be controlling. right? To manipulate and to control. And I think a lot of times, if it's responsive, that's not the intention you have. You're sort of defending yourself. But we're also learning from this book that we're talking about live on Instagram every Tuesday. We're learning to how to respond, right? When this stuff happens to you, and how to recognize it if it's happening, because it could be so subtle that you don't even realize what's happening to you. It could be as simple as someone saying to you when you're questioning them about something they don't want to talk about, don't start.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one manipulation that I did a long time ago. When with all my other husbands, when I started the relationship, I controlled them in a very subtle way. And how? Like, oh, can you text me in the morning because I want to hear you? And then later on, I text again when I was very insecure. Oh, and text, oh, why you don't text me today? I love you, I miss you. So I make the guy to text me without maybe the guy don't want to text me. So I control the guy in that way. I found my way controlling my third husband, like, why are you going to your mother? Why always is your mother first? Being a victim. So it was so many. I can tell you a list of controlling that now that reading this book and now in the process of my transformational life will be better to control my mood and control my anger and stuff. I find out that, wow, I was such a controlling woman, such a toxic woman at the same time. And I can get nasty. And it's not excuse to be like that, but I been like hurt for many years. And when you being hurt for many years, you create like a wall that if somebody wants to come into your wall, you starting attacking. And that's what I was. Me, it was not like something that I was doing conscious. I was something that I was doing unconscious because of the suffering and all the things that I had before. But now reading this book, it opened my eyes and said, wow, oh my God, I did a lot of things too.
And I think that's the beautiful thing of it, right? I learned about behaviors like I always, people always said to me, why did my first husband was so nice. He was so chill, like, and I would always say, because I felt like a doll up on a shelf, right? Like I felt, and I didn't know how to explain it, but this book actually opened my eyes to show me that his behavior was not suitable for me. Like he had a lot of walls built up. He had a lack of intimacy, and intimacy is an important part of a relationship. So if you
Right.
build all these walls to protect yourself because you've been hurt or because you've been rejected or for whatever your reasoning is, we do it, right? It happens. But if you cannot lower them to allow love in, that's also abusive to the person who's trying to love you. Right. And
And
people don't realize
yes.
it's violent. It's hostile.
And I remember when I was working in the produce industry, when I was working in the coolers with a lot of men. I remember now that I was acting like my father because I told the guys, put the shit down. This is the way I want it. Oh, no, no, no. Yes, this is the way I want it. It was like very like bossy, very bossy. And it was me. I was not aware. And people that know me for a long time, he said, oh my God, Gloria, you changed big time, big time.
Well, once you know better, you can do better. And that's the whole
Exactly.
purpose of reading this book for me. So it talks about these two realities, right? The reality one is the type of person who may have witnessed verbal abuse and grew up in that. And that's all they know. So that's what they
Right,
do, right?
right,
But also is people who are competitive. Narcissists can fall into this category where the way they think of a relationship is one person has to be dominant and the other
oh,
person has
yes.
to be controlled. That's the major line of thinking. And then there's another reality that you can grow up in. Maybe if you saw a happy, loving family growing up, you have a different experience, right?
Yes.
Or maybe you're just the type of person that saw all of that and said, you know what? I don't ever want to be anything like that. I'm going to go very far from those kinds of behaviors. That's me, right? So I'm the kind of person where I come up to someone who is being hostile and angry and controlling, and it destabilizes me because I'm not expecting it. And you always say this to me, you think, Kia, everyone is not as nice as you are. You think everyone is nice. I don't think that, I swear, but I expect it until I see how they are. And then I just, I adjust accordingly. But that was a learned trait. I wasn't always like that. I just always expected people to be decent and kind, and then I would be so shocked when they weren't. And I would be so, when I was younger, like early, very young, right? So, and I would be shocked when they weren't, and it would destabilize me. And I would always feel like I had to defend, like, no, that's not what I meant. No, you misunderstood. Like, that is no. That's a no to all of that, because that person will unless they're willing to change, or is never going to see reality the way you see reality, the way I see reality. It's always going to be competitive. It's always going to be controlling. It's always going to be that way, sort of dog eat dog. Whereas my viewpoint is more collaborative and co-creative. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to control anybody. Let's co-create. Let's work together. Let's be a team. And not everyone lives in that reality. And that's what was eye-opening to me, that people really, and what else was eye-opening was that usually women who are the abusers don't change unless they truly decide to make that change. Men are more likely to change if they realize, unless they're a narcissist, and once they realize that what they're doing through counseling or becoming more aware, they're willing to change and do better, especially if they really do want the relationship. But keep in mind that verbal abuse often precedes physical abuse.
So,
So
Kia, I'm going to ask you a question that now you're talking and now is something is cooking in my mind. Like you told in the beginning, and if people know you, you said that you have a rough childhood.
yeah.
So you didn't have a particular family hold that you can guide on it. In my case, and I'm going back to the question. In my case, I didn't see that. I see a lot of violence, a lot of toxicity, so I became toxic. In your case, you didn't. You see toxicity in your family. You see it was not a family complete. And how do you became in level two, in reality two, so easy when you didn't have that in the beginning?
Right. So I grew up in a very violent home. Obviously, I say all the time, I'm a child abuse survivor. I had two mentally ill people taking care of me. It was a shit show, to be honest with you. It was inconsistent. Sometimes it was a shit show. Sometimes it was super cool. But that consistency is really unsettling as well. You never know what you're going to get. And that builds all sorts of wounds and traumas and all of that I've had to heal and transform and work through, to make a long story short. But what my saving grace was, and what allowed me to be so different, was, number one, I was already different to begin with. I was more prone to being gentler and naturally by nature. And I was blessed with a period of time very early with my birth father, who was very loving to me. So I had that energy very early in life, which for a very short period of time, my parents split up when I was 3. So for a very short period of time, but he was my first child care provider. So I had a lot of loving energy very early in life. Moving forward, I got accepted to private school. And in my private school, shout out to Milton Hershey School and Milton Hershey School alumni, the sweetest place on earth in Hershey is where I grew up. And so it was kind of ideal. It was kind of like, so imagine I had a dual life, and I had these wonderful house parents. They were sort of like adoptive parents because of the way the school is structured. It's not dorms, it's family style. So it was like I always had a lot of sisters, and and there were guys there too, but they separated us in living quarters. But I had great role models, actually. And I had a great, ideal small town sort of life experience there in Hershey. But at the same time, I'd go back to Philadelphia, which is where I'm from. Shout out to Philly, Eagles fan. I had this lifestyle in Philly that was more rough and more dysfunctional. And so I saw both of those things. So I knew that I could choose. I could choose what example I wanted to follow. So I made a choice. And I chose a more loving, more open, more collaborative, way of being. And it didn't always serve me because I had to balance that out, right? Because you can lean towards being taken advantage of, So I had to balance my energy out of being fierce and strong and powerful, as you know me now, with being kind and sweet and giving. So I
Okay.
didn't get away unscathed. I had my own issues. I just didn't become aggressive and toxic. I
So
became toxic to myself, not to others. That's a good way to
okay,
put it.
okay. So any of your ex-husbands match with your energy? I know you are divorced already from them, but any of them they match your reality in one point or none?
I think my first husband and I got along really well. He was really chill. I like really kind of bookish guys, really smart. And he was we matched in a lot of ways. People didn't immediately see that, but where we were different was that I'm super affectionate and super intimate of a person, and he was very aloof. I would say cold, and he was unwilling to do anything about that. That's the way he was. So it was like, deal with it, and I couldn't deal with it. So that's
Right.
kind of what ended that relationship after 5 years. My second husband, he was awesome, and until he was angry. Right. That's where a lot of issues happened, and I actually find that I'm like, even when I fight with a partner, I'm chill. Right, unless I get heated, and that's usually a reaction, so I can be reactive instead of responsive. I'm work in progress. Okay, so but that's what I've been working on, because I will react to you, right? So if you get gangsta, okay, I'm gonna get gangsta.
Anybody,
Right,
anybody.
right. So that is what happened in the second marriage that wasn't so good, but that's not actually what ended our marriage. So it was other things, but I won't get into all of that right now.
Right,
But
right, right.
but actually, that's, I think, was the worst. That's one of the things I like the least in retrospect about that, because I will tell you that took me out of my natural character. I have a terrible temper. Terrible. Okay, horrible. I keep it under wraps by being kind and not giving anyone really a reason to get me riled up. But it's difficult in relationships, right? You rile each other
Yes.
up. You guys touch nerves when you're living together. We were married for 14 years, 13 technically. But my responses, my reactions, I should say, because there's a difference. My reactions to his way of arguing and things like that, I initially was really destabilized, and I went through a lot of like trying to figure it out. And we did a lot. I mean, a lot of years of counseling, like a lot of years of counseling. And he was really great, because some guys won't even go to counseling. So my
Exactly.
first husband didn't. He was like, "You go," and I was like, "Okay." And then I counseled my way on out of that relationship, right? But at least he did, and we did a lot of years, a lot of years of counseling, and we worked on dynamics, and things did get better in our communication. But our communication was only toxic, I would say, when we were angry, or when there was a fight happening. Right, he would say
Right.
something, and then and it would escalate. And we had to learn to, one, you can't both be escalating the fight. That's something we learn in counseling. Somebody's got to walk away. Somebody's got to break
Yes.
down. Somebody's
This,
got to be the mature one.
this escalate. That's the call.
Yeah,
This
de-escalate.
de-escalate.
The when it's, because you can't keep just pouring fire or gasoline on the fire, right? And sometimes in the early years, that's what we would do. And so once we got along better through counseling and learned more ways to communicate more effectively, you should hear him now. Just the other day, actually, he said, "I have feelings." Are you watching, Johnny? He said, "I have feelings. And when you say this to me, that bothers my feelings." And what can I say to that?
Wow.
I had a
No,
giggle. I had a
right?
giggle first, because, watching this guy say this to me is actually really funny. But it was really, aware and conscious. And I said, "Okay, I apologize." I won't do that again. I didn't know. That's responding, by the way. I could say, fuck you. Like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? I could like pop off, right? But that's reacting. But being responsive, I took it in and I validated his feelings because they deserved validation, right? Everyone's
Of
feeling
course.
deserves
Yes.
validations. And I said, okay, I didn't intend that, but I am sorry you felt that way. And I will take that under advisement. I won't do that again. I won't say that again, you know? And that's how it works. And we are divorced and we co-parent like the bomb. So in a conscious uncoupling, I'm telling you, really, it was hard.
You should create a program with that.
Well, there are so many already from Catherine Woodward, but I
Oh,
mean, if anyone wants to know how I did it, they want advice, just hit me up. Go to my Instagram at Captivity and send me a DM. In fact, I want to tell everybody, thank you for everybody who's following me on Facebook, but I can't really, I'm not on Facebook a lot and I'm almost maxed out on friends. You know how they are on Facebook. So if you
really?
want to connect with me,
How many max of friends you can have?
5,000, I think.
Really?
So if you want to connect with me for reals, and you want to hear more from me, I put success tips, I rate microblogs, I put cute
Microblogs.
stuff, I put positive energy out, I share love with the world all the time from at Creativity on my Instagram page. Go follow me there. And while you're there on Instagram following people, and if you're not on Instagram, go get on Instagram. Get with the times, okay? So, and then follow me on Instagram at Creativity and follow Gloria too, because she makes the best stories. And then go to Hot Topics, the podcast, and follow us there too at symbol Hot Topics, the podcast, and follow us there. And you can see our lives and see what we're up to and some pictures and stuff like that. I put all my photo shoots on my Instagram. I do cool stuff over there. So come and follow us and connect with me there. And if you want to know more about conscious uncoupling, send me a DM. Okay, request to connect with me through Instagram and I will check you out. And if you're not being gross, I will hang out with you there.
Kia, we have 1 hour and 10 minutes.
It's time to wrap it up. Is
Yes.
there anything else you want to talk about or share before we go, my love?
I think we should go and wrap it up because
Okay,
we always have
let's
to
do it.
keep it in on the time, and we have the rest of our life to talk about more stuff.
We'll talk about more stuff when we close this show out. If you would want to be a fly on the wall when the shit really starts going down after we stop this live. But anyway, enough about that. So let's wrap it up. As I said, follow us on Instagram. Don't forget at Gloria Gold 1111 and at Creativity and at Hot Topics the podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, subscribe. We need subscribers. We are trying to get 100 subscribers. We just started on YouTube, so that's all we want. Just 100 subscribers.
It doesn't cost anything.
It's free. It's a free thing. And while you're there, hit like on our videos. Okay.
Exactly.
Do us that favor. We will love you forever. And if you're watching on Facebook, as always, set your notifications. Make sure you're following us. Like, share, all of that good stuff. If you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay. Tell us where you're watching from. We love that. And if you have suggestions for topics, send us a direct message through Facebook, and we will look for a guest that talks about your topic. And we don't really hold back either on topics. So we could probably find someone for pretty much anything. Pretty much. So with that said, I am Kia Baker. I am the creator and host of the Female Veterans Podcast, Women Warrior Stories, and success coach for both London Real and the Rose Method. If you want more information about that, again, the Rose Method, send me a DM, an Instagram, request a connection with me. Okay? And we'll go from there. And next to me, as always, the most beautiful, sensational, enlightened, woke as fuck, extraordinary, brilliant, talented woman who always makes sense.
Totally. That's number one. Well, thank you so much, Kia, my love, with all that presentation about me. I need it every day. I need that. Thank you. Well, my name is Gloria Goldberg, the founder of the podcast Unbreakable Life with Glory, where I talk about depression, anxiety, and PTSD in a holistic way, a natural way to always make you feel better, and also the creator and the host of the bilingual show, The Gloria, where I talk about also the depression and anxiety, one Friday in Spanish, one Friday in English. This Friday is going to be in English, and it's gonna be Alexandros Megas, and we're gonna talk about depression and anxiety through art.
I love him so much.
Yes, so I'm so happy. So be there. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff that's gonna help you to feel better. So anyway, Kia, we have to say goodbye. And before we say goodbye, we have Alina Him. Thank you for today's conversation.
Aww.
It was my first time here, and I enjoy it very much. Thank you,
Thank you, Anila. Come back and see us. We're Tuesdays. Oh, hi, Jana. That's my girl. Hi, Jana. So, Anila, we're live at this time on Wednesdays, and we're live on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So, wherever you are in the world, you have to check your time zone, but you can always watch the replay. Give us a shout out. We appreciate you. Come hang out with us again. Come hang out.
Exactly.
Hi, Jana.
And Jorge say, un beso, chicas. Gracias, mi amor. Un besito. Chao, chao. So let's go now.
De oso.
Un abrazo de osa. Bueno, chao, chao. Have a wonderful weekend. Chao, chao.